Hey y'all, it's Casey, and today we're going to be talking about healing before relationships. I hope everybody is doing well, and if not, everything is going to get better because that's just how things work. But yeah, welcome to my channel again. Thank you guys if you're watching, and if you watched if you've been watching my videos, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And yeah, let's get on with the video. So what prompted me to make this video was I saw this video on TikTok, and yes, I'm always gonna kind of get references. A lot of my video ideas kind of get references from TikTok. I kind of just get ideas off of that, because it's obviously a lot of people. TikTok is just the app, as I said, with a lot of opinions, and that's also why I don't like it, because I feel like half of these people are not qualified to speak on these things. We're all so young. Most of us are under 35 and giving all this life advice like we know everything. And as I always say, everybody is entitled to have their own opinion. That's why we're all different people. We have our own lives. And, I'm trying to say we all have different separate experiences. And even if that's true for you and maybe all the people and your friends, like y'all live on one side of the country, you experience certain things. You might not even live in the same country. I'm trying to say? It's just there's so much that goes into people's opinions. But I digress. That's not the point. What I'm trying to get into here is I remember it was like this one influencer, she got backlash because basically somebody had like talked about a video that she had made, and it was basically like her saying that you need to love yourself and stuff, and the video was not posted, and it was getting popular around Valentine's Day, and so it triggered some people because I guess being single on Valentine's Day kind of suck. It does suck, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It does suck. But the video wasn't even posted on Valentine's. It was literally like from a podcast 3 years ago. And she was getting attacked for that. And I was like, what the hell? That's not cool. And people just didn't like what she was saying. And basically what she said, and y'all probably, if you were on that side of TikTok, you probably know who I'm talking about and the whole situation and who was saying what. But I'm not going to get into that because I'm not here to tell, oh, you were wrong about this or who's wrong about this. But I just want to expand on the topic. So I do believe that people need to heal to be in relationships, and I do also feel that you need to heal in a relationship, but there's two different types of healing that need to be done, and I feel like some people don't even need to heal. I'm trying to say some people don't experience trauma. Some people don't experience relationship trauma. Some people literally get into a good relationship with a good person who also doesn't have trauma and is a good person, and they don't have to deal with any of that. That's some people's experience. But some people are 30 and they've only had bad relationships. Maybe they've been cheated on, people just treat them bad, abused, manipulated, this, that, with crazy people. What I'm trying to say? And it's just, that's why I always say it's different experiences, And that's another thing, and obviously those type of people are going to tell you, oh, and not all of them, but most of those people are, oh, all men cheat. Or maybe if it's a man, all these women are bad. Or as men, all these females are bad. They going to cheat on you and this and and they're going to be like, I don't trust these females, this and that. I'm trying to say? And even with the women, all these men cheat and this and that, and men ain't, and this and that, and they're all bad and this and that, what I'm trying to say? So, and that's kind of just what you hear, especially on TikTok. And I hate that because it's that's not true. I'm sorry. And if you really genuinely think that every single, and I do think that there is a cheating problem in our generation, most definitely, but I really feel like if you truly feel that, you kind of are, I'm trying to say, a little bit too online. And I really wish and I hope that don't let people online discredit you and making you kind of not discredit you, but kind of I can't think of the word, but it's kind of how can I explain it? It's kind of just demotivate you and kind of make you feel down about that in a sense from relationships, and kind of be like, oh man, there's no hope. There's people out there, and especially if you're one of them, and you wouldn't cheat on somebody, and you wouldn't then you should know that, hey, not everybody's going to do that. And also, that's another video, but I do also feel like the person that you're dating kind of also has to do with where did you meet them. If you're meeting somebody who's going to the club every day, what do you think they're going to do? If you met a man who's DMing you on Instagram and following a bunch of, what do you think he's going to, what I'm trying to say? It's just the same type of people attract the same type of people. You need to look in different spots. You're looking in the same spot, and obviously that's not always the case, but I'm not going to get into that. But what I'm trying to say is, some people don't need to do all of that healing and self-healing and stuff, but for the people that do, especially if you've been in past relationships, you need to, one, reevaluate your self-worth. Because if you were in a relationship, especially if you were in a relationship for a while with somebody who continuously treated you bad on multiple occasions, you don't have good self-worth. And that's just what it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the first step to that is going to be acknowledging, hey, I don't really have a good relationship with myself. And I'm so sorry to say, yes, and obviously I will always feel bad for people who have been manipulated or abused or victims of that. But the thing is, if you're in a relationship with somebody, unless you're financially reliant on them, it's a form of self-neglect. Allowing people to treat you badly is a form of self-neglect, and obviously not every situation is going to, what I'm trying to say, like equivalent to that, because there's so much things that can go into a situation. But I'm just saying most of the times you have to take responsibility for that, because the thing is, and it's not even in a way, oh, that's your fault, like not in an insensitive way, but in a more way, you need to do better to protect yourself and make sure that does not happen again, because you do not deserve that. Nobody deserves that, and you deserve better, and you deserve better, and you want better. So why allow yourself, I'm trying to say? And it's obviously easier said than done, especially when you possibly have parental wounds, trauma wounds, and that's why I just feel like it's important. And that was the whole thing about like the first type of healing. You need to heal your self-worth. You need to heal that. You need to heal, I'm trying to say, knowing that you have good self-worth and all this and that. And also not even that, but kind of just like how people were saying, oh, well, this and that. You also need to stop being so desperate for a relationship. That's another thing. And I know that everyone's like, oh, they're tired of hearing, oh, well, it's going to come, like, if you're single, it's going to come to you when it comes to you. Which, and I hate to agree with them, but it's kind of true. When you're not, and that's just with manifestation in general. When you detach from the outcome, it comes to you way easier, because you're not holding on to it and so desperate for it. That's just desperation. Literally gives off lack. If you're desperate for something, it shows that you don't have it, And so that's why it's kind of like learning to be, one, comfortable being by yourself, and also two, knowing that I do not deserve those bad things. I don't deserve to be spoken to a certain way. I don't deserve to be treated in a certain way, and I do not deserve to be with these certain specific type of people. I deserve more for my life and for myself. And that's kind of just the first step of healing that you need to do, I'm trying to say, outside of a relationship. So whenever you do start meeting said people and stuff, you're not going to just let any man sleep with you. And obviously, it's just for any, like, I'm trying to say, it doesn't matter gender. But as I said, I mostly speak for women because I'm a woman, and I can speak for women because I experience life through a woman's body, or like through a woman. I'm trying to say, I've never been a man, so I don't know how it is for them. I can't speak on them, but even for my men or my people in between, you're not going to let anybody, like, I'm trying to say, if this person is doing too much, you're not going to be so desperate for that. You're going to be like, okay, no, I'm not about to deal with that again. I'm trying to say. And that's another thing, because like some people, and I've seen it in my own life, and we see people, like, some people don't learn the lesson. Like, that's just the reality. Some people, the universe, God, or whoever you believe in, can put the same situation in front of you over and over again. And some people, they just don't get it. No matter how many times it happens to them, they don't get it. They put themselves in the same situation over and over and over again. Do not be that person. Get it the first time, so you don't have to go through all that trauma and pain. And I promise you, it is not worth it in the end, really, because all of that is stress, and stress can literally lead to chronic disease. And that's not okay. You don't want to, and also aging too, you don't want to put yourself through that. And it's not fun to be crying every day and to be sad, I'm trying to say, over those things. So kind of that's, as I said, it's kind of just self-worth. And first of all, just detaching from this obsession of wanting a relationship, and also thinking that it's going to make your life better. And not saying that you can't get a relationship without that, because people can still get into them without, like, I'm trying to say, detaching and doing all of that, but it's just like, you just need to, I guess, just, have better self-worth, so you don't, I'm trying to say, you don't allow these bad people, so you don't get the same outcome. But as I said, moving on to the second type of healing. Okay, so now you're in said relationship, and when we're going to be talking about healing part 2. You cannot heal specifically. Let's say you just deal with stuff in relationships negatively. Like maybe when you were growing up in your household, y'all were arguing a lot, maybe yelling, screaming. And honestly, I'm going to be honest, yelling at people when you're mad at them is not okay. It's not. And I'm not going to pretend like I don't do that, when I haven't done that. It's something that I definitely need to work on. I'm trying to say. And so a lot of these videos, I do also talk to my younger self, and so that's why I just kind of want to talk to people who also have like problems like me, hopefully. But as I said, yelling at people when you're mad at them is not okay. Even if that's your child, it's not okay. Because guess what? Now those kids are going to grow up, and anytime they're angry at people, they're going to start yelling, shouting. That's just so mean to do. Sorry, that cut. But yelling at people, shouting at them, doing all of that, that's just not okay. You're an adult. You need to be able to handle your emotions way more effectively. And you need to work on that. And the thing is guess what? You're not going to be able to heal that outside of a relationship. You're not going to be able to heal maybe you being too clingy, or like not too clingy, but let me say overthinking in a relationship, thinking that somebody's always cheating on you, or like things like that. You're not going to be able to fully heal those type of things without being in a relationship. Now, is it fair on your partner? No, I'm trying to say, that's another thing, if you're the partner who has to deal with that, or, I'm trying to say, that's just another thing you got to decide. Am I comfortable with, do I love this person enough to, I'm trying to say, and as I said, nobody's perfect, so we're all going to have things that we need to heal and we need to work on. And obviously it's just up to you. What are you willing to accept in the relationship? What are you willing to, I'm trying to say, some people may not want, maybe some people have never, I'm trying to say their parents never yell at them. Nobody has ever really yelled at them like that. And so when they get into a relationship with somebody who maybe grew up in a household where yelling, screaming, shouting was normal, and they're like, no, I don't want to deal with that. And that's totally fine. That is totally 100% fine and valid. I'm trying to say. And that's why I just feel that, it's just better that, I just don't feel it's fair if you're not completely healed to try to get into relationships with people who are, because it's just, what I'm trying to say, at least. And, if that person is okay with that, I'm not saying don't do that, but obviously if that person's okay, because it's just like, I would just personally feel bad putting stuff onto people when I know that they've never dealt with that before. You know what I'm trying to say? But obviously that's up to you and them. If y'all are fine with that, then that's all right, But as I was saying, there's just certain things that you cannot heal without being in a relationship. And as I was saying, like things like that, maybe like the overthinking and all of those things, maybe the shouting and just certain behaviors that you do in relationships, or maybe you're an avoidant and you just close people off and you try to run away from situations. That's not something you're going to be able to heal unless that situation is put in front of you. So that's what I'm trying to get at. There's going to be two types, like that's why I said there's two types of healing. There's going to be the first one of what type of relationships are you going to accept? And then also the kind of actual practical one of actually getting better and actually healing everything, I'm trying to say, is going to be being in the relationship and actually like being faced with that situation and not reacting like your old self. That's when you see the real change. I'm trying to say, it's just like step 1 and step 2. So as I was saying, with that second one, it's just like you're being put in the face of the situation and you react differently. You're not shouting anymore. You're not getting mad. You're not doing all the other things that you would do. Or maybe you're like slightly toxic, or you do things you're not supposed to do, and now you're not doing them anymore. Or maybe you're not reacting like you used to. Maybe you're calmer. Maybe you're not running away anymore. Maybe you have trouble with releasing your emotions, or not releasing emotions, but maybe opening up to people. Now you're opening up. Or maybe, I'm trying to say, you weren't loved effectively as a kid, and now you're being loved. I'm trying to say, you didn't know how to love other people properly, and now you're loving properly. Those are only things that you're going to be able to actually heal once you get into the relationship. So, yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day. And also, I'm trying to say, if y'all have any discussions or if you even disagree with me, because as I said, it's literally just all with people's perspective. You may have had a different experience with this and you don't align with that, and that's totally fine. So I just open discussions in the comments. I want to hear everyone's thoughts, I'm trying to say, and we can talk about it, So, yeah, that's all today. Bye, y'all.